Picture this. You're alone with your thoughts, and they start flooding in, uninvited and unstoppable. Tiny worries that turn into monsters, self-doubt that spirals into full-blown anxiety. The mind can feel like it's set against us, doesn't it? But what if I told you that someone, centuries ago, already mapped out a way to quiet those raging thoughts? Not just anyone, but a Roman emperor himself, Marcus Aurelius. Intrigued? In his private notes, known today as Meditations, Marcus wrote not to impress anyone, but to remind himself how to stay calm, how to be resilient, and how to kill negative thinking. He wasn't some unreachable guru. He was a guy trying to survive the pressures of life, just like us. One of his most potent reminders to himself was simple: the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. In other words, what goes on inside our minds, that's what truly shapes our lives. We all get caught in the grip of negative thoughts, but Marcus's approach to dealing with them? Pure Stoic wisdom. He believed that every moment we let negative thoughts control us, we're giving away our power. He knew that negativity isn't just a passing mood. It's a thief that quietly robs us of our peace, clarity, and potential. Marcus once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." If an emperor, with all his responsibilities, could come back to this simple truth, we can too. So here's the big question. Are you ready to take control and break free from the chains of negative thinking? Let's unpack some of Marcus Aurelius's time-tested techniques to reclaim your mental freedom. Stick around, and I promise this journey will leave you with a toolbox of Stoic strategies that will turn your inner critic into your inner champion. If that sounds like something you're up for, hit subscribe, give this a like, and let's get into it. Because after all, life's too short to let negative thinking steal our happiness. Thoughts aren't facts. See your mind as the observer. Marcus Aurelius reminds us of a profound insight in his Meditations. If you are pained by any external thing, it is not this thing that disturbs you, but your own judgment about it, and it is in your power to wipe out this judgment now. In simple terms, he's telling us that the way we interpret events matters far more than the events themselves. This principle can be a game changer in silencing our negative thinking. When we think about negative thoughts, they often arrive with a certain urgency, like they're pressing messages we need to believe. Maybe it's the voice that says, "I'm not good enough," or "I always mess things up." Imagine your mind as a vast open space, and thoughts are just clouds passing through. You don't have to grab onto every cloud. Instead, let it pass, recognize it, and remember that it's just one way of interpreting a situation, not necessarily the truth. Take a real-life example. Suppose you're working on a project and something goes wrong. Immediately, that familiar thought creeps in, "I'm a failure." Marcus's advice also invites us to understand that our judgments can be selective, based on past experiences, fears, or insecurities. When we realize that thoughts are often driven by our perceptions rather than facts, we gain a huge amount of control over them. A thought is only as powerful as the energy we give it. Marcus encourages us to challenge these judgments and, more importantly, to discard the ones that don't serve us. Practicing this might feel strange at first, but here's a simple exercise. The next time you catch yourself in a loop of negative thinking, try asking, "Is this a fact or is this a feeling?" Write it down if you can. This small act of separating feeling from fact grounds you in reality, rather than the mind's distortion of it. Over time, you'll notice that thoughts lose their grip on you. They no longer feel like mandates from some invisible authority. Instead, they're suggestions you can accept or ignore. This first lesson is essential because it sets the foundation for mastering your mind, cultivating calm, and paving the way for peace. Every time you step back, observe, and question your thoughts, you're building the skill of emotional resilience. And just like Marcus, you're learning the art of quieting the storm within. Focus on what you can control. Free yourself from unnecessary worry. Marcus Aurelius was a master at focusing on what he could control and letting go of the rest. In his meditations, he writes, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This idea might sound simple, but it's transformative when fully understood. By concentrating on what we actually have control over, our thoughts, actions, and responses, we free ourselves from endless cycles of worry and stress about things outside our influence. Imagine the mental space that opens up when we're no longer weighed down by events or people beyond our control. Think about how much time we spend trying to change other people's opinions, fix outcomes that haven't happened, or get frustrated over setbacks that, in truth, we have zero control over. Let's say you're worried about a friend's decision or the results of a job interview. Worrying might feel natural, even helpful, but Marcus urges us to ask, is this within my control? If not, then it's time to focus on what you can influence, your mindset, your preparation, or your response. One of the simplest ways to bring Marcus's advice into action is to start viewing control like two circles. An inner circle for the things we can influence, our actions, choices, thoughts, and an outer circle for things we can't, other people's actions, unexpected events. When we realize that our real power lies within that inner circle, it becomes easier to direct our energy there. Think of how liberating it is to accept that some things just aren't up to us. If someone is acting unfairly or a decision goes against us, we can choose not to react emotionally. Instead, we can decide to keep our calm, to respond with grace, or to simply let it go. This shift empowers us, turning wasted frustration into focused resilience. A practical exercise is to actively note down worries and divide them. What's within my control and what isn't? For instance, if you're worried about a big presentation, you can control your preparation, mindset, and time management, but you can't control the reactions of the audience. By releasing those outer circle worries, you give yourself the freedom to perform without carrying the unnecessary burden of unchangeable factors. Letting go doesn't mean we stop caring. It means we stop clinging. It's about finding peace in knowing we did our best with what's truly ours to change. It's about understanding that our role is to respond wisely and calmly to life as it unfolds, not to control every twist and turn. In fact, Marcus knew that trying to control things outside ourselves often only leads to frustration, disappointment, and endless worry, none of which are productive. By practicing this second Stoic lesson, we start to cultivate a calm, balanced mind. Rather than being tossed around by every outside event, we build our focus on the steady ground of what's within us. We grow resilient because we're no longer reacting to every external stimulus, but choosing our responses mindfully. This control over our mind, as Marcus says, is where real strength lies. So when you find yourself caught in worry, remember to come back to that inner circle. Focus on what you can control, let go of what you can't, and watch as peace naturally follows. Embrace discomfort as growth. Find strength in challenges. Marcus Aurelius famously said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This powerful statement underpins one of the deepest teachings of Stoic philosophy. Rather than avoiding discomfort or difficulties, we should embrace them as essential steps in our journey. According to Marcus, the obstacles we encounter aren't just annoyances or unfortunate roadblocks. They're opportunities, pathways to develop resilience, wisdom, and inner strength. Learning to see discomfort as growth is one of the most transformative shifts we can make. Let's face it, modern life often encourages comfort-seeking. With endless conveniences and easy distractions, it's tempting to avoid anything that feels hard, unpleasant, or challenging. But think about it. When have you truly grown? It's usually during those tough moments, when you're pushed outside your comfort zone, that you discover who you really are. Marcus Aurelius knew that growth doesn't happen by taking the easy path. Just like building physical strength requires pushing muscles to their limits, building mental and emotional strength requires us to face adversity, work through discomfort, and lean into challenges. When we actively seek out, or at least welcome discomfort, we're training our minds to become stronger and more resilient. Take a real-life example. Imagine you're assigned a difficult project at work, something way out of your usual scope. It's easy to feel overwhelmed, maybe even frustrated, but instead of seeing it as a burden, what if you viewed it as an opportunity to grow your skills? Adopting Marcus's perspective, you'd approach the project as a chance to stretch your abilities, learn new things, and expand your resilience. You're not just trying to get through it. You're leaning into it, actively engaging with it to build yourself up. In this way, each challenge becomes a training ground for becoming better. Another approach Marcus took to embracing discomfort was to remind himself constantly of the unpredictable nature of life. He didn't expect a life without hardships. Rather, he anticipated difficulties and met them with a prepared mind. For instance, he wrote, "Begin each day by telling yourself, 'Today I shall be meeting with interference, ingratitude, insolence, disloyalty, ill will, and selfishness.'" This isn't pessimism, it's a mindset of mental readiness. When we accept that obstacles are part of life, we stop being caught off guard. Instead, we start building the habit of using each obstacle as fuel for growth, training ourselves to become more adaptable and resilient with each new challenge. A practical exercise to put this lesson into practice is to set small daily discomforts for yourself. It could be as simple as taking a cold shower, practicing a difficult skill, or holding a challenging conversation you've been avoiding. By intentionally choosing discomfort in controlled ways, you build your tolerance for it, training yourself to welcome bigger challenges as they come. Over time, discomfort becomes less intimidating and more familiar. You're not shocked or discouraged by hard times. You're ready for them. Marcus's wisdom teaches us that the path of growth is often a bumpy one, but every bump strengthens us if we let it. When we see each discomfort as a stepping stone rather than a setback, we start to approach life's challenges with a new kind of courage. The next time you face an obstacle, remember Marcus's words. The challenge isn't blocking your path, it is the path. Embrace it, grow from it, and you'll find strength you never knew you had. Practice gratitude for the present. Appreciate what you have. Marcus Aurelius wrote in Meditations, "Do not indulge in dreams of having what you have not, but reckon up the chief of the blessings you do possess, and then thankfully remember how you would crave for them if they were not yours." Cultivating gratitude doesn't just make us feel good. It anchors us in the present, grounding our perspective and reducing the anxiety that comes from constantly seeking more. Practicing gratitude in Marcus's way means recognizing the value of what we usually take for granted. Think about it. When was the last time you paused to appreciate something as simple as your health, your relationships, or the freedom you have in your daily life? Often we don't notice these blessings until they're taken away. The point is to shift your focus from what's lacking to what's already abundant in your life. Gratitude acts like a lens, redirecting our attention to the present moment and reducing the endless craving for more. By appreciating what we have now, we create a more balanced mind, one that finds joy in the present, instead of constantly searching for it elsewhere. Marcus also warns us against the if-only mentality. The trap of thinking happiness lies in some future acquisition or achievement. He reminds us that the joy we imagine from future success or possessions is often short-lived. Once achieved, the satisfaction is quickly replaced by new desires, leading to a cycle of endless wanting. By grounding ourselves in gratitude, we break free from this cycle. We start to see that contentment is a mindset available to us right now, independent of external circumstances. By practicing gratitude, as Marcus describes, we learn to find satisfaction in what we have rather than longing for what we don't. This isn't about giving up ambition or growth. It's about balancing our striving with genuine appreciation for the present. The next time you feel that itch for more, remember Marcus's wisdom. Pause, take stock of what you have, and savor it. This grounded appreciation doesn't just make life richer. It also cultivates a resilient, grateful heart that's prepared to handle whatever the future may bring. Accept impermanence, embrace change with grace. One of Marcus Aurelius's most powerful insights is the inevitability of change. In Meditations, he reflects on the constant flux of life, saying, "Observe constantly that all things take place by change, and accustom yourself to consider that the nature of the universe loves nothing so much as to change the things which are, and to make new things like them." In our daily lives, this concept can be tough to grasp. We naturally cling to what's familiar, to things we find comforting and safe. Relationships, careers, personal goals, these are all things we often want to keep exactly as they are. But the Stoics saw clinging to anything as the source of much of our mental and emotional struggle. Imagine, for example, the end of a cherished friendship or relationship. The instinct may be to hold on tightly, to resist the signs of fading connection. But Marcus's wisdom encourages us to approach such moments with openness. Instead of viewing change as a loss, he asks us to see it as a natural evolution, a necessary part of life's rhythm. A powerful exercise to internalize this lesson is to reflect on past experiences that seemed devastating at the time, but ultimately led to personal growth or a new path. Perhaps a job you lost led you to a better one, or a relationship ending helped you discover your own strengths. Marcus's practice of embracing impermanence teaches us to cherish the present moment, to let go of the illusion of permanence, and to understand that change isn't our enemy, it's part of life's design. When we accept impermanence, we stop clinging, fearing, or regretting. In the end, Marcus's lesson on change is a call to live fully and freely, without being chained to what was or what might be. The next time life shifts in a way you didn't expect, remember his wisdom. See the change not as something to resist, but as something natural to accept. Life is a series of arrivals and departures, and finding peace in this truth allows us to navigate it all with grace, courage, and inner calm. Accept impermanence, embrace change with grace. One of Marcus Aurelius's most powerful insights is the inevitability of change. In Meditations, he reflects on the constant flux of life, saying, "Observe constantly that all things take place by change, and accustom yourself to consider that the nature of the universe loves nothing so much as to change the things which are, and to make new things like them." In our daily lives, this concept can be tough to grasp. We naturally cling to what's familiar, to things we find comforting and safe. Relationships, careers, personal goals, these are all things we often want to keep exactly as they are. But the Stoics saw clinging to anything as the source of much of our mental and emotional struggle. Imagine, for example, the end of a cherished friendship or relationship. The instinct may be to hold on tightly, to resist the signs of fading connection. But Marcus's wisdom encourages us to approach such moments with openness. Instead of viewing change as a loss, he asks us to see it as a natural evolution, a necessary part of life's rhythm. A powerful exercise to internalize this lesson is to reflect on past experiences that seemed devastating at the time, but ultimately led to personal growth or a new path. Perhaps a job you lost led you to a better one, or a relationship ending helped you discover your own strengths. Marcus's practice of embracing impermanence teaches us to cherish the present moment, to let go of the illusion of permanence, and to understand that change isn't our enemy, it's part of life's design. When we accept impermanence, we stop clinging, fearing, or regretting. In the end, Marcus's lesson on change is a call to live fully and freely, without being chained to what was or what might be. The next time life shifts in a way you didn't expect, remember his wisdom. See the change not as something to resist, but as something natural to accept. Life is a series of arrivals and departures, and finding peace in this truth allows us to navigate it all with grace, courage, and inner calm. Master self-discipline, control your reactions, not the world. Marcus Aurelius understood that true strength comes from within. In Meditations, he writes, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." For Marcus, self-discipline was at the heart of Stoic philosophy. Rather than trying to control or manipulate the world around us, he taught that we should focus on controlling our own responses and reactions. Self-discipline, as Marcus practiced it, isn't about self-denial or suppression. It's about training the mind to remain balanced and thoughtful, even in challenging situations. Think about the times when a small inconvenience, like traffic or a difficult interaction at work, turned into a source of frustration or anger. These moments can seem trivial, but they actually highlight a significant truth. When we let external situations dictate our emotions, we lose control over ourselves. Marcus believed that by cultivating inner discipline, we stop being victims of circumstances and become masters of our own minds. He famously wrote, "It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live." This reflects the idea that our inner battles, facing fears, overcoming impulsiveness, managing anger, are what ultimately shape our lives. In embracing self-discipline, Marcus's approach is not about rigidly controlling every moment. It's about learning to manage our responses so that we live intentionally rather than reactively. This internal mastery allows us to handle life's inevitable stresses with patience and resilience. The next time you feel anger or frustration rising, remember Marcus's advice to master your mind. By focusing on what you can control, your reaction, you gain the strength to face life with clarity and calm, empowering yourself from within. Be kind, even when it's hard. Lead with compassion over ego. Marcus Aurelius believed deeply in the importance of kindness, even when faced with difficult people or situations. In Meditations, he wrote, "Whenever you are about to find fault with someone, ask yourself the following question: what fault of mine most nearly resembles the one I am about to criticize?" For Marcus, leading with compassion rather than ego was essential, not only for building stronger relationships, but for cultivating inner peace. Being kind, especially in challenging moments, is a true test of character and requires us to set aside judgment, frustration, or the need to win. Kindness is a practice that transforms both the giver and receiver, bringing calm to tense situations and fostering a deeper understanding of others. We often think kindness should be a natural response, but when we're in difficult situations, like facing rude behavior or dealing with people who don't share our values, it can be incredibly challenging to remain compassionate. The Stoic approach is not to react impulsively to others' behavior, but to understand that everyone, including ourselves, has flaws, weaknesses, and moments of ignorance. Marcus reminds us that choosing kindness doesn't mean being passive or letting people mistreat us. Rather, it means responding thoughtfully rather than reacting from a place of anger or superiority. He encourages us to recognize our own imperfections as a way of developing empathy for others. When we see ourselves honestly, we're more inclined to treat others with patience and understanding. Let's say a co-worker criticizes you in front of others, and your initial impulse might be to defend yourself, argue back, or feel insulted. The Stoic way, however, would suggest pausing and considering what might be driving their behavior. Maybe they're stressed or dealing with personal issues. Instead of retaliating, Marcus would have you respond with calm and kindness, refusing to let your ego dictate the moment. This doesn't mean letting them walk all over you. It means choosing your response thoughtfully, showing that you're not swayed by their behavior. By being kind when it's difficult, you demonstrate a strength that's rooted in understanding rather than conflict. Marcus saw kindness as a way to transcend the petty concerns of ego. He understood that our reactions to others are a reflection of our own character. If we allow ourselves to get angry or defensive every time we feel slighted, we become prisoners to other people's actions. But when we choose kindness, we free ourselves. This choice is a powerful act of self-mastery. It shows that we're governed by our principles, not by the whims of others. Marcus believed that if we acted in alignment with our highest values, we could maintain inner peace, regardless of how others behaved. A practical exercise to build kindness into your life is to practice seeing things from another's perspective, especially when tensions arise. When you feel judgment or frustration, take a moment to think, what might they be going through? What insecurities or fears could be influencing their behavior? This shift in perspective fosters compassion, helping you to respond with empathy. You'll find that as you practice kindness in hard moments, it not only diffuses tension, but also strengthens your relationships and deepens your own sense of peace. By choosing compassion over ego, we align ourselves with Marcus's vision of a noble life. Being kind in challenging situations builds emotional resilience, allowing us to rise above petty conflicts and strengthen our inner calm. The next time you encounter someone difficult, remember Marcus's wisdom. Meet them with kindness, even when it's hard. It is in those moments that our character is truly tested and defined. Through compassion, we not only make a positive impact on others, but also enrich our own lives with a lasting peace that no amount of conflict can take away. Cultivate inner tranquility. Find peace in simplicity. Marcus Aurelius valued tranquility deeply, recognizing that true peace comes not from outside achievements or possessions, but from a calm, well-ordered mind. He wrote in Meditations, "People look for retreats for themselves, in the country, by the coast, or in the hills. There is nowhere that a person can find a more peaceful and trouble-free retreat than in his own mind." To Marcus, inner tranquility was a retreat available to anyone, regardless of their circumstances. He believed that cultivating a peaceful inner life required focusing on simplicity and letting go of unnecessary desires, worries, and distractions. In today's world, where we're constantly surrounded by demands, information, and ambitions, this lesson is more valuable than ever. Achieving tranquility in our modern lives can feel impossible, especially with the constant noise of social media, work pressures, and endless notifications. Yet Marcus suggests that the key to tranquility isn't found in eliminating all external sources of stress, which would be impossible, but in simplifying our internal responses to them. He encourages us to strip away unnecessary layers of worry and complication by focusing on what truly matters, Often, our minds are like crowded rooms filled with unimportant thoughts, concerns, and desires, making it hard to find a clear space for peace. By practicing simplicity, we begin to recognize and let go of the things that disrupt our inner calm. Consider how often we complicate our lives with unnecessary goals, social pressures, or unrealistic expectations. Marcus would advise us to pause and ask ourselves, what is truly essential? Is it fame, wealth, or the approval of others? The Stoics believed that these external pursuits often lead to inner chaos rather than peace. True tranquility, according to Marcus, comes from appreciating life as it is and minimizing our attachment to fleeting desires. For instance, instead of always striving for more success, more possessions, more validation, he suggests we find contentment in the present moment with what we already have. To cultivate this inner tranquility, try creating small retreats within your daily routine. This could mean setting aside a few minutes each morning to clear your mind, reflect on what matters, or simply sit in silence. These moments of solitude, free from noise and demands, are vital for reconnecting with yourself. In these quiet spaces, you can practice focusing on your breath, noticing your thoughts without judgment, and releasing worries that serve no purpose. By building a habit of finding stillness in small moments, you gradually create an internal space of calm that's accessible even in the busiest times. Marcus's lesson of tranquility is a call to prioritize a peaceful mind over an overflowing life. In simplifying our internal world, we develop resilience to external chaos, allowing us to remain steady no matter what life brings. Rather than seeking peace in temporary pleasures or external achievements, Marcus teaches us to nurture a calm spirit within. By focusing on simplicity, practicing contentment, and creating mindful retreats, we free ourselves from the frantic chase for more and cultivate a sense of calm that endures. The next time you feel overwhelmed, remember Marcus's wisdom. The most peaceful retreat lies within your own mind. By letting go of unnecessary desires and embracing simplicity, you reclaim control over your inner world, finding tranquility that can't be shaken by external forces. Through this practice, you build a life anchored in peace, allowing you to move through each day with a quiet strength and an enduring calm. Reflect on mortality. Let the finite nature of life inspire you. Marcus Aurelius often reflected on mortality as a means of clarifying his priorities and focusing on what truly mattered. In Meditations, he wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." This lesson may sound somber, but it holds one of the most powerful keys to living fully and purposefully. For Marcus, awareness of life's impermanence was not about fearing death, but about inspiring action, gratitude, and intentional living. By reminding ourselves of the finite nature of our time, we can let go of trivial worries, focus on meaningful pursuits, and build a deeper appreciation for each moment we have. Think about how often we put off things that are important to us, telling ourselves that there will be time later. We assume we'll have endless chances to pursue our dreams, connect with loved ones, or take that leap of faith. But by embracing mortality as Marcus did, we recognize that later is not guaranteed. A helpful practice to integrate this lesson is to regularly reflect on your priorities. Imagine you're at the end of your life, looking back on what truly mattered to you. What would you regret not having done, and what moments would you cherish most? By envisioning life from this perspective, we gain clarity on what we want to focus on now, removing the distractions that tend to clutter our days. This mental exercise helps to filter out the trivial worries and fleeting desires that can consume us, letting us dedicate more energy to what will leave a meaningful legacy. By reflecting on mortality, we ground ourselves in the present with greater clarity and purpose. Marcus's wisdom invites us to ask, if this were my last day, how would I live it? This question isn't meant to create fear, but to awaken us to the choices available now. By embracing the finite nature of life, we free ourselves from the illusion of endless time, focusing instead on a life lived with intention, passion, and presence. The beauty of this practice is that it helps us to live fully in each moment, transforming ordinary days into extraordinary experiences of purpose, connection, and meaning. Align your actions with your values. Live with integrity and purpose. For Marcus Aurelius, living with integrity was a cornerstone of a fulfilled life. In Meditations, he urged himself, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." This simple principle guided him in making choices aligned with his values, allowing him to live with a clear conscience and a sense of purpose. Let's consider a common challenge. Imagine you're in a work environment where people regularly cut corners or act unethically to get ahead. You might feel pressure to do the same, thinking it's necessary to succeed. But by following Marcus's example, you'd take a step back and question whether compromising your values aligns with the person you want to be. A practical way to practice this lesson is to identify a few core values, such as honesty, kindness, or accountability, and let these guide your daily decisions. Before making a choice, take a brief pause and ask yourself, does this align with my values? This simple question helps you stay centered and intentional, reducing the likelihood of acting impulsively or regretfully. Marcus's emphasis on integrity also reveals his commitment to a purposeful life. When we act according to our beliefs, our actions carry greater meaning because they stem from a genuine place. Living this way minimizes the internal conflicts that arise when we act out of alignment with our values. By following Marcus Aurelius's lesson of integrity, we cultivate a steady, unshakable inner peace. In living according to our values, we build a life of substance and purpose, free from the regrets that come from compromising what we believe in. This is the essence of a life well lived, one that remains true, steady, and deeply meaningful in the face of life's many challenges. Embrace the present moment. Stop worrying about the future and regretting the past. Marcus Aurelius was a firm believer in the power of the present moment, and he continuously reminded himself to live fully within it. In Meditations, he wrote, "Confine yourself to the present." This Stoic principle wasn't merely about avoiding regrets over the past or worries about the future, but about recognizing that everything we have, everything we can act upon, exists only in this current moment. Imagine a situation where you're preparing for a major presentation or project. It's natural to worry about what might go wrong or to stress over past presentations that didn't go well. However, this type of thinking divides our energy and attention, often increasing our stress without adding any real benefit. A simple practice to embrace the present moment is mindfulness, where we intentionally focus on our current thoughts, feelings, or tasks without judgment. This could mean pausing in the middle of the day to take a few deep breaths, feeling the air in your lungs, and reconnecting with your immediate surroundings. When we catch ourselves drifting into past regrets or future worries, we can gently remind ourselves to return to the present. Marcus understood that life is fleeting, and he saw each day as an opportunity to live fully. He reminds us that time lost in regret or worry is time we'll never get back. By focusing on the present, we make the most of every moment, no matter how ordinary it seems. We stop waiting for some perfect future moment to bring us happiness and instead find joy and contentment in the life we're living right now. The next time you find yourself lost in thought about the past or anxious about the future, remember Marcus's wisdom to confine yourself to the present. This practice transforms ordinary moments into extraordinary ones, allowing us to live fully and freely, just as Marcus Aurelius did, even amidst the challenges and uncertainties of life. Cultivate resilience through acceptance. Strengthen yourself by embracing reality. Marcus Aurelius understood that resilience, the capacity to endure hardships without breaking, came from accepting reality rather than resisting it. In Meditations he wrote, "Accept whatever comes to you woven in the pattern of your destiny, for what could more aptly fit your needs?" To Marcus, acceptance was not passive resignation, but an active, courageous embrace of life as it is, rather than as we wish it to be. In our lives, it's common to encounter situations that feel unfair, painful, or unexpected. A difficult job loss, a strained relationship, or a sudden change in plans. Our first reaction may be resistance, as we get caught in a mental loop of "this shouldn't be happening" or "why me?" But resistance only amplifies our suffering by locking us in a struggle against reality. Imagine you're faced with a setback, like a failed project or a personal disappointment. It's natural to feel disheartened, but instead of sinking into frustration, Marcus would encourage you to ask, "What can I learn from this? How can this experience strengthen me?" This shift in perspective transforms obstacles into opportunities for growth, turning hardships into stepping stones for resilience. Marcus's wisdom on resilience reminds us that life's unpredictability is not something to fear, but something to accept and adapt to. By embracing reality as it comes, we become grounded, stable, and prepared to face whatever life may bring. By cultivating resilience through acceptance, you develop an unshakable inner foundation that can withstand life's storms and emerge stronger, wiser, and more at peace. Let go of approval. Seek validation within, not from others. Marcus Aurelius knew that seeking approval from others was a trap that often led to inner turmoil and dissatisfaction. In Meditations he wrote, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own." The desire for approval is deeply ingrained in human nature, but it often leads to a cycle of anxiety and self-doubt. When we depend on others' validation, we give them power over our sense of self-worth, leaving us vulnerable to every judgment or criticism. Marcus's lesson is a call to shift that focus inward, to seek validation from our own values and beliefs rather than from external sources. Imagine a scenario where you're working on a creative project or making a significant life decision. Living this way also means accepting that not everyone will understand or agree with our choices, and that's okay. When we anchor our actions in our values, we develop an unshakable confidence because we know that we're living authentically, regardless of external opinions. Marcus emphasized that true satisfaction comes from living according to our own standards, rather than adapting ourselves to meet the expectations of others. A practical way to apply this lesson is to cultivate self-affirmation. Each day, remind yourself of your values, strengths, and goals. Reflect on how your actions align with who you truly want to be, rather than focusing on what others think. When faced with decisions, pause and ask yourself whether the choice feels right to you, independent of others' approval. Marcus's wisdom on approval reveals that true freedom and peace come from within. When we stop seeking validation externally, we are no longer swayed by others' opinions or judgments, which can often be inconsistent or superficial. This lesson is a liberating reminder that true self-worth is cultivated from within, providing a foundation of inner strength that endures, regardless of others' perceptions. Practice forgiveness. Release resentment to free yourself. Marcus Aurelius understood the importance of forgiveness, not just for the person being forgiven, but for the peace and freedom it grants to the forgiver. In Meditations, he wrote, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." For Marcus, forgiveness was not about excusing wrongdoings or letting people off the hook, but about refusing to let others' actions disrupt our inner peace. It's human to feel hurt or wronged when someone betrays or disrespects us, and forgiving in such cases can feel nearly impossible. By refusing to dwell on others' faults, we regain control over our emotions and reactions, refusing to let someone else's actions define our mindset. Imagine, for instance, a friend or co-worker who acted dishonestly or unfairly toward you. The anger may feel justified, and part of you may want to hold on to it as a form of protection or justice. But holding that grudge means allowing their actions to continue impacting your life. Instead, forgiveness in the Stoic sense is an inner process, a choice to let go of bitterness and to preserve your peace. A helpful practice to embrace forgiveness is to reflect on the idea that everyone is fallible, including ourselves. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself that people act out of ignorance, weakness, or misunderstanding. Remembering this can soften the sting of personal offenses, as it reminds us that flaws are a shared human condition. Forgiveness, as Marcus practiced it, is a path to freedom. By letting go of resentment, we stop allowing past hurts to control our present state of mind. Through forgiveness, we cultivate resilience, compassion, and an unwavering commitment to inner peace, creating a life in which we can move forward unencumbered by the past. Focus on your own path. Don't compare yourself to others. Marcus Aurelius taught that true contentment comes from living in alignment with our own values and purpose, rather than measuring ourselves against others. In Meditations, he wrote, "Look well into thyself. There is a source of strength which will always spring up if thou wilt always look." This advice speaks to the importance of focusing inward, cultivating self-awareness, and finding strength from within, rather than constantly seeking validation or feeling diminished by comparisons. In today's world, comparison is almost unavoidable. Social media, professional environments, and societal standards all present a constant parade of others' achievements, possessions, and lifestyles, often making us feel we're falling short. When we focus on these external markers of success, we risk losing sight of our true desires, values, and progress. Marcus's Stoic philosophy offers an alternative: to find satisfaction in the effort, growth, and goals that are uniquely ours. Imagine a scenario where you're feeling envious of a friend's career advancement, financial success, or personal life. That envy can spark feelings of inadequacy, making you question your own choices and progress. When we focus on what we're building for ourselves, we regain control over our own fulfillment, rather than letting it be influenced by others' achievements. One practical way to reinforce this lesson is through regular journaling or self-reflection. Take time to write down what matters most to you, what kind of person you want to become, the skills you want to develop, and the goals you want to pursue. This practice also helps you recognize and celebrate your growth, big or small, reinforcing your sense of purpose and self-worth. The next time you feel the urge to compare yourself to someone else, remember Marcus's words and return your focus to your own path. In doing so, you empower yourself to create a life defined not by external standards, but by the unique journey of growth and purpose that's yours alone. Accept criticism gracefully. Learn from feedback without letting it define you. Marcus Aurelius believed that embracing criticism with an open mind is essential for personal growth and self-mastery. In Meditations, he advised, "If anyone can prove and show to me that I think and act in error, I will gladly change it, for I seek the truth." For Marcus, criticism was not something to fear or resent, but an opportunity to refine his understanding, strengthen his character, and improve his actions. He knew that criticism, when approached constructively, can offer insights we may not see ourselves. However, he also warned against allowing criticism to undermine our self-worth or distort our sense of purpose. Marcus's balanced approach encourages us to seek wisdom from feedback without letting others' opinions dictate our self-perception or sway us from our principles. Handling criticism is often challenging because it can feel like a personal attack, triggering defensiveness, shame, or self-doubt. In a world where we're constantly exposed to others' judgments, on social media, in our careers, and even within our relationships, it's easy to internalize critical comments, letting them shape our self-image. Marcus's Stoic philosophy offers an alternative perspective. See criticism as data, something to evaluate objectively rather than an attack on your character. By remaining calm and evaluating whether the feedback is valid, we gain the power to grow without being destabilized by others' opinions. This approach allows us to benefit from valuable insights while discarding any negativity that doesn't serve our growth. Marcus's approach to criticism reminds us that our worth is not dependent on others' opinions. When we embrace feedback constructively, we can refine our actions without compromising our integrity or self-esteem. Criticism becomes a mirror that reflects not only our growth areas, but also our resilience and commitment to learning. The next time you receive criticism, remember Marcus's lesson. Take from it what serves you and let the rest go. In doing so, you learn from others while staying true to yourself, developing a balanced perspective that strengthens both your character and confidence. Embrace adversity as a teacher. Grow stronger through challenges. Marcus Aurelius believed that adversity was not merely something to endure, but a crucial tool for growth and resilience. In Meditations, he famously wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This Stoic insight reflects the idea that challenges aren't just obstacles. They are essential parts of our journey that shape us, test us, and ultimately make us stronger. In our daily lives, adversity often feels like a setback, a delay, or even a punishment. The natural response might be frustration, avoidance, or even self-pity. However, Marcus's philosophy offers a radical reframing. What if we viewed every difficulty as an opportunity for growth? Instead of seeing adversity as something to fight against, we could see it as a source of potential, something that, although painful, has lessons to teach us. Imagine you're going through a tough time at work, feeling overwhelmed and discouraged. Instead of seeing this as a sign of failure or a reason to quit, Marcus would encourage you to ask, "What can I learn from this? How can this experience make me stronger?" Perhaps this challenge will teach you persistence, adaptability, or problem-solving skills. To put this lesson into practice, consider adopting a growth mindset whenever you face obstacles. When something difficult arises, ask yourself, "How can I grow from this?" Keep a journal where you record your challenges and reflect on what they've taught you. Over time, you'll start to see patterns in your resilience, recognizing that each adversity has helped shape a stronger version of yourself. This practice also builds gratitude for difficulties as you come to view them not as setbacks, but as essential parts of your personal development. Marcus's approach to adversity reminds us that life's hardships are not interruptions to our journey, they are the journey. By embracing adversity with a mindset of growth, we stop fearing challenges and start welcoming them as a natural, even necessary part of life. The next time you encounter a difficult situation, remember Marcus's wisdom: what stands in the way becomes the way. Let adversity be your teacher, and you will emerge stronger, more resilient, and more deeply connected to your own strength and purpose. This transformative perspective empowers us to face any challenge with a steady heart and an unbreakable spirit, ready to learn and grow no matter what life brings. Practice humility. Recognize your limitations and value. Collective wisdom. Marcus Aurelius, despite being a Roman emperor, continually emphasized the importance of humility. He believed that true wisdom and strength lie in acknowledging our limitations, learning from others, and understanding that we are just one part of a vast, interconnected world. In Meditations, he wrote, "Do not think yourself harmed, and you have not been." Humility, according to Marcus, is about accepting that we don't know everything, that we can't control everything, and that every person, regardless of status or position, has something valuable to teach us. Humility is often misunderstood as self-doubt or meekness, but Marcus saw it as a form of inner strength. Being humble means we're secure enough to admit when we don't know something, to seek advice, and to respect other perspectives. This openness doesn't diminish our abilities. Instead, it enhances them by making us receptive to learning and growth. Humility allows us to build genuine connections with others, seek guidance when needed, and learn from experiences without feeling threatened. Imagine you're working on a team project and feel certain that your approach is the best. It's easy to dismiss others' suggestions, thinking you have the right answer. However, Marcus would advise you to set aside this instinct and listen openly, even if it means admitting your approach could be flawed. By valuing collective wisdom, you become a stronger team player, learning from others' insights and expanding your perspective. Humility allows you to consider that others' ideas may be equally, if not more, effective, and this openness can lead to richer solutions and stronger relationships. A practical way to cultivate humility is to make a habit of asking for feedback. This could be from colleagues, friends, or family members who see your blind spots and can offer constructive perspectives. Another exercise is to regularly remind yourself of all the people, both past and present, who contribute to the world's knowledge. The next time you feel the urge to assert your opinion or prove yourself, remember Marcus's words on humility. Approach each situation with openness and a willingness to learn, and you'll find that humility not only strengthens your character, but also deepens your relationships and enriches your understanding. This approach frees us from the isolating pressures of ego, leading to a life that's more connected, balanced, and genuinely wise. As we wrap up this journey through the wisdom of Marcus Aurelius and the timeless principles of Stoicism, it's clear that true strength and peace aren't found in controlling the world around us, but in mastering our own minds. Each lesson, from embracing adversity to cultivating purpose, offers a practical way to rise above life's chaos, reconnect with what really matters, and live with clarity and intention. Imagine a life where setbacks don't shake your peace, where criticism fuels growth instead of self-doubt, and where each day is approached with a calm, purposeful mindset. If these lessons resonate with you, it's because there's a part of you that's ready for that shift, ready to bring more mindfulness, resilience, and fulfillment into your everyday life. That's the Stoic path, and it's within reach if we make these small shifts in how we think and live. And hey, if you're ready to keep diving deeper into topics like these, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Join this growing community of people committed to exploring and living a life that's centered, resilient, and purpose-driven. Don't forget to like the video if you found value in it. It helps spread these messages to others who might be on their own journey toward inner strength and peace. Together, we're building a community grounded in self-awareness, growth, and purpose. So let's support each other as we all work toward a mindset that values wisdom over impulsiveness and resilience over reactivity. Looking forward to hearing your insights in the comments. And remember, every small shift you make in your mindset builds toward a life that's not only more resilient, but also deeply fulfilling. Thank you for being part of this journey. Here's to a life lived with mind over body.